Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining me. If you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then we're just going to look at one verse this morning. It is a sad and marvelous verse all at one time. Verse 25 of chapter 20, Paul says, "And now behold, I know that none of you among whom I have gone about proclaiming the kingdom will see my face again." Again, sad verse. Paul shifts when he says, behold. He is moving from talking about events of the past to talking about the present, even the future, and letting his friends here know exactly what he was thinking, how he felt the future would most likely play out. He's already told them previously that he was bound in the spirit. He had to go to Jerusalem, even though he knew that there was a good possibility that he would die there. As he states here, you will probably never see me again. And again, a man with less faith, a man with less trust in the Lord, looking at that kind of future, would have probably chosen a different road. Would have probably decided, rather than tell you you won't see my face again because I'm going to Jerusalem, and they're probably going to kill me there. Most of us, I think myself included, will say, I think I'll just stay here with you good people. It is possible that Paul, when he was saying that you'll never see me again, was thinking that he would be going on into other parts of Europe and would probably never come back to Asia again. But I think considering what we have read up to this point and the circumstances, it is more likely that he was anticipating at least imprisonment and at the worst death. Or as Paul would say, for him to die was gain. He didn't consider that to be the worst. And so he is bidding his final farewell, believing he will again never return to Asia Minor. He is hoping, planning, believing that he will be able to go on to Rome, to Spain, to other areas throughout Europe, but aware that he may not make it, that his life may come to an end in Jerusalem when he arrives back there. And yet he presses on and continues to move forward to do what he believed that God was calling him to do. And so either way, we don't know for certain what he meant exactly by this statement, whether he was thinking of moving on out of Asia or being persecuted and perhaps executed in Jerusalem. But either way, he felt like he would probably never see the good folks of the Ephesian church again. And he's going to move on and then state his case in these coming verses of how he leaves with a clear conscience. Again, a sad and yet confident verse all at one time. I'm sure there were a lot of tears as Paul made this declaration. But what a great example once again that Paul is to us, that even when others around us are questioning our actions, when it doesn't look wise, when everybody else, anybody else looking at it will say that's not the smart thing to do. But Paul felt in his spirit, and we've discussed this, but ultimately Paul had to do what he thought God was leading him to do, and he felt confident that God was calling him to go back to Jerusalem, and regardless of the outcome, he was going to follow God. And that is a huge challenge and encouragement and example for you and I today. Many times in trying to serve God, our friends, some of our most of the time, our own closest family will question and doubt, ridicule our intentions, our motivation, make fun, all kinds of things, but that we continue to be obedient to God, just as Paul shows us here. Again, everybody around him was telling him this is not the smart thing to do, but Paul felt in his heart that the Holy Spirit was leading him, and so he was going to be obedient, as is clear here, even to the bitter end. If that's what it took, he was going to follow Christ all the way to the grave. If that's what following Christ meant. And we live in, most of us, we live in a fairly comfortable culture where we don't face those kind of threats. But who knows what the future holds? And we may be put in that same boat. And so let's today commit ourselves that I'm going to follow the leadership of the Holy Spirit no matter what the cost. Most of us, again, will not be facing death for our faith, but we may face ridicule, we may face loss of friends, job, who knows. But let's determine in our hearts, we're going to follow God no matter the cost. You have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.